Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Comfort Fashion and my sign language interpreter is Shegun Ajayi. First, the headlines. Nigeria Armed Forces intensifies pace, deploys more mobility and combat equipment to ensure safety of lives and property of citizens in Benue State. Stakeholders in justice sector appeal to National Assembly to expeditiously pass a new administration of Criminal Justice Act into law. Plus, Rwanda arrests prominent opposition leader Victoire Ingabire on count of inciting the public and creating a criminal organization. The inaugural West Africa Economic Summit, WIES, has officially commenced in Abuja, with regional leaders urged to revise the ECOWAS protocol on free movement and eliminate non-tariff barriers to unlock the full potential of intra-regional trade. The call was made by Foreign Affairs and Trade and Investment Ministers during the summit's ceremony opening, an initiative of President Bola Tinubu, hosted by Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Garbana Ta'ala reports.
Nigeria and its neighbors are rewriting the rules of trade, transforming West Africa into the continent's most dynamic economic hub. And as this historic summit reveals, the blueprint hinges on African Continental Free Trade Area to strengthen a single market for goods and services across Africa, boost intra-regional trade, as well as create an efficient digital economy.
Let this summit not be just another meeting, but a turning point, a moment of collective resolve to translate potential into prosperity.
We must support businesses not only to survive, but to grow across borders. And that means investing in infrastructure, ports, logistics corridors, and digital platforms that power seamless trade, access to finance, especially for women and youth-led enterprises that are often excluded from credit systems, trade intelligence and data to help producers understand regional demand, pricing, and market opportunities.
In an exchange of ideas, having the Minister of Trade among the panelists underscored the need for robust implementation, renewable energy partnerships, expansion of infrastructures. But the real game changer is a unified tariff regime the leaders here agreed to power seamless trade and safeguard investments. And they observed that Nigeria's adoption of intra-African air cargo corridor in May has become an enabler to accelerating Nigerian exports. Expectations are high, as participants recognize the goals of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to uplift not only Nigeria, but the whole of the region.
Some of the provisions of the ECOWAS Treaty, especially the rules of origin clause, that I know very well, is being abused by smugglers. And I'll give you an example. There are smugglers, well-known, well-heeled, well-connected, who bring in palm oil from Asia. They come and berth along the coast of West Africa, rebottle, as it were, and then take advantage of the rules of origin clause, claim that it is produced in this West African neighbor, ECOWAS member, and then smuggle into Nigeria, stymieing and frustrating our attempt at becoming or re-entering, restoring our primacy in palm oil production.
One summit, though, won't fix decades of barriers, but for the first time, West Africa has risen to global uncertainties grappling the continent. In Abuja, Garab Muhammad Atala, NTA News.
A special session was held in Friday's Juma Prayer at the Ansaruddin Mosque, Abuja, in memory of the late Alhaja Abibatu Magaji, mother of President Bola Tinubu. The President and other top government functionaries attended the prayer. Siras's correspondent Musbaudan Wahab has more.
Vice President Kashim Shettima Some state governors, led by their chairman, Abdurrahman Abdulrazak of Kwara State, joined President Tinubu for the special prayer. A day to remember a grassroots mobilizer of repute, Alhaja Bibatu Mogaji, who passed on 12 years ago. This certainly brings a moment of reflection for the president. The chief imam of the mosque, Professor Musa Olafe, aptly chose a topic for the prayer, the role of a mother in Islam. With sacrifices they make, the imam described mothers as supportive pillars to their children, as late Abibatu so demonstrated to President Bola Tinubu. He admonished the faithful to value, respect and care for their mothers as prescribed in the teaching of Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him.
And we have commanded people to honor their parents. Their mothers go them through hardship upon hardship, and their winning takes 2 years. So be grateful to me and your parents. Anytime, any day, don't forget that your mother will remain your mother. It's also reported to have encouraged Muslims to marry virtuous women in order to have virtuous children. We are celebrating not a common mother, a woman that is a philanthropist by excellence.
Representatives of various Islamic groups took turns and prayed for the late Alhaja Bibatu Mogaji, President Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, and other senior government officials, and indeed for a more peaceful and greater Nigeria in unity.
A leader amiable, capable, intelligent, full of wisdom, and has given us Ahmed Bola Tinubu with due respect, our president. May Allah elevate your life. May Allah give you peace of mind. May Allah continue to protect you from all evils. May Almighty Allah be there for you all the time. Nigeria will be more greater in your tenure. Nigeria will be more peaceful in your tenure.
Late Alhaja Bibatu Mogaji, a respected grassroots mobilizer, was the Yaloja General till she departed in 2013 at 96.
Allahu Akbar.
In Abuja, Musbal and Wahab, NTA News.
Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has appealed to Nigerians to work with government in building more inclusive communities where refugees and internally displaced persons are not just welcomed, but truly embraced and supported. The appeal contained in her message marking this year's World Refugee Day also implores refugees, once supported, to reciprocate by being law-abiding and contribute meaningfully to their host community. She says a theme, community as a superpower, speaks to the heart of what the community can do to contribute to the most vulnerable among us. While noting that refugees across Nigeria and the world have shown remarkable strength, the First Lady emphasizes that it is often the kindness of neighbors, the open arms of strangers, and the unity of communities that turn survival into hope and hope into healing. The European Union, EU and United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, have signed a new partnership agreement to continue providing protection and humanitarian assistance to Congolese refugees and asylum seekers residing in Nyarugusu camp. Chukwunonso Mwabweze reports that the deal also captures new arrivals who are temporarily hosted at the transit center in Kigoma region, Tanzania.
Through a contribution of €3 million, the EU will support UNHCR's efforts to deliver timely, life-saving and protection-sensitive assistance and services in health, wash, shelter and education, including specialized services to persons with specific needs fleeing violence from the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The EU ambassador to Tanzania and East African Community, Christine Graru, at the signing of the partnership in Tanzania said the global increase in crisis has led to an unprecedented number of refugees in urgent need of support around the world. The crucial agreement, she emphasized, will directly benefit refugees in Tanzania, ensuring their protection, enabling them to live dignified lives and supporting their access to livelihoods. She reaffirmed the commitment of the European Union to humanitarian values and international solidarity, expressing EU's readiness to continue working with key partners to address global challenges and uphold the rights and dignity of every individual seeking refuge. Since the beginning of 2025, the UN Refugee Agency, in collaboration with national and international partners, have continued to support the government of Tanzania in receiving new arrivals in the Kigoma region. From January to June this year, over 3,000 refugees have been received in Kigoma, with UNHCR and partners providing services to 85,105 Congolese refugees residing in Yarugusu camp. Given the dire circumstances under which many refugees flee, often with only clothes on their backs and a few belongings, access to health, shelter, clean water, hygiene and sanitation facilities are critical. These services not only reduce mortality and morbidity, but also uphold the dignity, protection and overall well-being of asylum seekers and refugees. UNHCR representative in Tanzania, Hussein Anjum, said, "Standing with Congolese refugees and asylum seekers in Tanzania is not just the agency's responsibility, but a reflection of a shared humanity." He stated that through the steadfast support of partners like the EU, the collaboration is not only meeting urgent needs, but investing in dignity, resilience, and the foundations of lasting peace for families who deserve hope and a future. The UN Refugee Agency requires an estimated $14 million to respond to the DRC emergency in Tanzania, including $5 million for preparedness and appeals for more humanitarian and international community support. As of 31st May 2025, Tanzania hosts over 230,000 refugees, mainly from Burundi and the DRC. Chukunonsonwa Bweze, NTA News.
Ahead of the October 2025 presidential election, prominent Cameroonian figures are calling on citizens to use the ballot box to reject longtime President Paul Biya. A coalition of university lecturers, civil society members and traditional leaders issued a public appeal urging Biya, in power since 1982, that is 43 years ago, not to stand again or to be voted out if he does. They argue that at 92 years old, Biya's continued rule symbolizes a stagnant political system ill-suited to address urgent crises such as the Anglophone conflict, economic hardship and endemic corruption. These collective voices have sparked fresh debate, while some local mayors and traditional chiefs insist Biya's embodies stability. Others, including church leaders, describe his candidacy as unrealistic and warn it threatened democratic process. Rwanda has arrested prominent opposition leader Victoire Ingabire, who is being held at a detention facility in the capital, Kigali, on charges of inciting the public and creating a criminal organization. A state investigative agency said Ingabire was freed in 2018 after serving 6 years of a 15-year jail sentence handed to her in 2012. Following her conviction on charges related to conspiring to form an armed group and seeking to minimize the 1994 genocide. She is now accused of playing a role in creating a criminal organization and engaging in acts that incite public disorder. In a renewed effort to enhance troop mobility and operational effectiveness in the north-central region, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, have delivered a substantial consignment of mobility and combat equipment to the headquarters Joint Task Force Operation Wild Stroke in Makurdi, Benue State. In a statement signed by the Acting Information Officer, Operation Wild Stroke, Lieutenant Ahmed Zubairu, the newly deployed assets comprising troops carrying vehicles, gun trucks, personal protective equipment and other 100 motorcycles are aimed at boosting tactical agility, combat force, protecting and the overall combat readiness of troops operating in the region against persistent asymmetric threats. Acknowledging the developments, First Commander Operation Wild Stroke Major General Moses Gara emphasized that the delivery reflects the Defense Headquarters' commitment to fostering synergy across military and security agencies. We take a break now. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Kenya has handed over the flag for the hosting of Africa Public Relations Association APRA Conference 2026 to Nigeria, marking another win for Africa's most populous country, which also secured hosting rights for World Public Relations Forum, WPRF, November next year. Haman Jabani reports.
Congratulations, Nigeria. A little bit of music.
Receiving the flag, Nigeria's Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who was represented by the Director General, National Orientation Agency, Lanre Isa Onelu, expressed the country's delight to host Africa, describing it as an honor the country is not taken for granted. He extolled APRA for leading the change in promoting excellence in public relations across the continent in the last 5 decades, applauding the association for advancing the frontier of unity and promoting ethical communication to raise the bar for development in Africa, while assuring the readiness of the federal government of Nigeria to partner with APRA to build a more informed and integrated continent. The minister urged the body to leverage on technology to provide lasting solutions to contemporary challenges to assist Africa in telling the story of hope, passion, and shared prosperity. It was also an opportunity for the minister to speak on the country's Democracy Day, which is celebrated every June 12th, marking a breakaway from military rule.
That we are coming to Nigeria, you are coming home. So when you leave your country, please imagine that you are going home. We can assure you, you're going to have a swell time in Nigeria in 2026.
We have to have a transition initiative that will help us to drive from traditional governance to governance driven by systems. That's very fundamental for us. And as a PR person, I see that as an area that we as professionals must lead advocacy.
The two events will hold in November 2026 when the University of Public Relations and Leadership, the first PR sector-based university to be located in Nasarawa State, will be inaugurated. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Musa Dengiwa, has given his support to the NUJ FCT Council in order to bring to fruition their Journalist Village project in the FCT Abuja. The minister gave this assurance when a delegation from the NUJ FCT Council, led by its chairman, Comrade Grace Ike, paid him a courtesy visit at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. Dengiwa acknowledged the crucial role of the media in national development, saying that they bridge the gap between the government and the people. Responding to the request of the Union on Journalist Village project, Dengiwa gave assurance that ministry will support the Union in securing land and facilitate building the estate through the Cooperative Housing Development of Nigeria under the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. He advised that the Union secures a titled land as well as an architect who would design the houses, promising to direct the Federal Mortgage Bank to create cooperative housing development to build the estate for the journalist, while the Union brings off takers who gets allocated to the houses with a payment plan of up to 30 years at 6% interest rate. Speaking earlier, the chairman of the NUJ FCT Council, Comrade Grace Ike, commended the visionary leadership of the minister in the housing sector, describing it as a bold, strategic and people-centered with remarkable stride. At this space, once a simple point of entry, is now a statement of purpose. It reflects the dignity, order and professionalism that must define the Nigerian civil service and set the tone not just for those who enter, but for the service culture we seek to foster. These were the words of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Esther Wilson-Jack, at the inauguration of the remodeled reception and foyer with an exhibition gallery in Abuja. Haman Jabani reports that the event marked the official kickoff of the 2025 Civil Service Week celebrations.
And the citizens of Nigeria whom we serve. Okay, y'all welcome.
The project is widely seen as a strong reminder that infrastructure in the public service goes beyond physical convenience. It is equally about creating an environment that inspires productivity, discipline, and national pride. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Esther Wilson-Jack, emphasized that the remodeled reception and foyer, along with the integrated exhibition gallery, is not only a true reflection of excellence, but also aligns with the vision of a world-class public service environment. The exhibition gallery serves as a storytelling space showcasing milestones, achievements, innovation, and history. It promotes awareness about the service's mission, goals, and impact, while also displaying artworks, culture, and relevant themes to engage and inspire.
The transformation we seek must begin here within our walls, in our processes, in our attitudes, and yes, even in our workplace. The quality of work delivered is a true reflection of excellence, aligning with our vision for a world-class public service environment.
The reception gives you the first impression that the people you're going to meet upstairs are really serious and committed people to serve the nation. It's completely changing the culture, the way we do things in the past, moving it to the future. We're transforming everything, giving the hope and confidence to Nigerians that truly we are here to serve.
So I see this as a dream come true, and we can all agree that that foyer is more welcoming to anybody visiting the office of the head of service.
The remodeled reception and foyer with an exhibition gallery is not just an aesthetic upgrade, it is a strategic investment in image, communication, security, stakeholder engagement, and cultural expression. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Stakeholders in the justice sector have appealed to the National Assembly to expeditiously pass the repeal and amendment to the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2025. This was the thrust of discourse at the one-day stakeholders review meeting on the draft ACJA Amendments Bill conveyed by the Ministry of Justice and the Center for Social Legal Studies. Judiciary correspondent Austin Ayobi tells us more.
The stakeholders meeting was convened to review the latest version of the draft amendments to the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA 2015, supported by the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program and the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. The gathering provided an opportunity for stakeholders from across the criminal justice spectrum to examine, critique, and refine the proposed amendments to the legislation. President of the Center for Social Legal Studies, Professor Yemi Akinse George, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, said the proposed ACJA Amendment Bill was passed by the House of Representatives in 2023.
We compile your valuable contributions and re-engage the National Assembly in a bid to revive and fast-track the legislative process, which would bring about the passage.
He said the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee, alongside other key actors, has put forward additional suggestions aimed at closing gaps and strengthening the bill. The meeting, therefore, is to harmonize diverse views and consolidate them into final version that meets the needs of the evolving justice system.
Stakeholders have used the delay by the Senate in passing it to now make more recommendations for improvement. So we are appealing to the Senate, to please pass the bill as soon as they receive the recommendations that are coming from this meeting.
Eliminating de novo trials following judge transfer, retirement or death, and enhancing the institutional framework are some of the areas being looked into, while commending the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice for the ongoing reforms in the justice sector. He called on the legislature to support the innovation being made. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
And that's the news. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Comfort Fashion.